Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a massive leap into the pharmaceutical industry.
We really are.
We're focusing on a transformation that is, well, it's completely reshaping how life-saving drugs are discovered, made, and even delivered.
Hmm.
We are talking about data and analytics, what our sources are calling the foundational engine that powers every single insight-driven decision.
It's a perfect way to put it.
So our mission here is to walk you through the roadmap, both technical and strategic, for these pharma organizations. As they move from these old, fragmented, sometimes even paper-based systems
Still so much paper.
to integrated, cloud-enabled platforms. And this is not just some IT upgrade, is it? It's about handling an absolute fire hose of data.
A fire hose is right. You've got clinical trials, real-world evidence, massive supply chain logs, and now continuous feeds from patient monitoring devices.
So what happens if a company just fails to embrace this future?
Well, the competitive reality is it's brutal. What's fascinating here is that embracing this data deluge is no longer optional. It's about survival.
It's table stakes now.
Exactly. Companies that successfully harness advanced analytics, they gain this huge competitive edge. They turn months of manual work into minutes of predictive insight.
Wow.
This means faster R&D, more efficient clinical trials, personalized therapies, and supply chains that, simply don't break. It's the difference between a high-speed data cruiser and a slow-moving battleship.
That's a powerful distinction. And that speed, I imagine, comes from mastering different levels of analytics.
It does.
So let's start with the three core modalities of big data that every modern pharma company is putting in place. How should we think about this spectrum of capability?
Think of it as a logical progression. You're moving away from looking in the rearview mirror and closer to, genuine foresight.
Okay.
The baseline is descriptive analytics. That's the foundation. It's necessary. It gives you your real-time dashboards, reporting on KPIs, quality metrics, regulatory compliance. It just tells you instantly what happened.
So if a manufacturing line is running, say, 5% slower than last week, descriptive analytics is the first thing that's going to flag it.
That's it, exactly.
What's the next step?
Next up is predictive analytics. This is where the power of machine learning and AI really steps in. It takes that historical and real-time data to forecast things.
Like what?
Like predicting patient outcomes, or modeling demand fluctuations for a new drug, or even identifying risk factors in a development pipeline before they become these, multi-million-dollar failures. This tells you what will likely happen.
And then we get to the ultimate goal, where the system doesn't just guess. It actually tells you what to do.
That's prescriptive analytics. It goes beyond just predicting by recommending the optimal strategy.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Things like recommending precise dosing based on real-time patient data, or optimizing resource allocation across research sites. It can even define the best patient groups for a complex clinical trial. It closes that critical gap from insight to an automated, calculated action.
And the ROI on this, it proves it's not just theory. Our sources are quoting results from early adopters. Things like up to 50% reductions in time to market.
Which is incredible.
And an impressive 40% improvement in clinical trial success rates. Those are huge incentives.
It really shows the immense value of moving from simple reporting to, truly prescribing the best course of action using AI.
We've seen the power of prediction, but, that advanced work is kind of pointless if the base is unstable, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about how companies build that foundation, starting with the first big hurdle. Data strategy and architecture. How do organizations approach this using that standard PPT framework? People, process, technology.
Right. To set the strategy, you need all three dimensions aligned.
Mm-hmm.
On the people side, you need specialized roles, a chief data officer, expert data architects to lead the charge.
Okay.
For process, the data vision has to be explicitly aligned with the business strategy, whether that's accelerating R&D or optimizing the commercial side.
And what about the architecture? What's the goal of that blueprint?
Yeah. The blueprint has to serve two masters. It's got defensive needs, which means total regulatory compliance, GXP readiness.
The have-to-dos.
The have-to-dos. And then the offensive goals, which is pure innovation and competitive advantage. It has to support both security and speed.
And when we look at the investment figures for just this foundational work data strategy and architecture, we're seeing estimates from $2.8 million up to $5.5 million over 15 to 24 months.
Yeah.
That tells me this is not a pilot program. This is a deep, long-term commitment.
It absolutely is. And that commitment has to be anchored on data quality and governance. No amount of tech can save you if the data going in is garbage. If the strategy is the map, Governance is the quality control for the whole operation.
And in the pharma world, the standard for data quality is especially stringent, isn't it?
It is. The industry standard here are the LCOA principles. This framework dictates that all data must be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. Yes. And this is the bedrock because in pharma, if data doesn't meet LCOA standards, it can't legally be submitted to the FDA or other regulators.
So the governance investment is just essential. What do they get from sticking to LCOA so consistently?
Well, this foundation yields massive efficiency gains, a 50% improvement in data quality scores, and critically, a 40% reduction in the time scientists are currently wasting just manually cleaning up data.
It's amazing how much you unlock just by cleaning up the basics, but that's past data. Let's talk about handling the fire hose of new data coming in right now.
Exactly. So we move from strategy to operational execution, starting with master data management, or MDM.
Why is MDM so crucial? I mean, what kind of chaotic processes are these large organizations still running that need this kind of cleanup?
MDM solves the problem of having 40 different versions of what product X or supplier Z is across all your systems.
Right.
The goal of MDM is creating that critical single source of truth for core things, products, customers, suppliers. That previous chaos, it just slows everything down.
What's the real-world operational payoff for getting rid of that confusion?
Quantitatively, companies see a 40% reduction in data errors across all their systems, and that standardization translates directly into speed, like a 20% faster time for product launches.
Because the underlying data is instantly trustworthy.
Exactly. Across R&D, manufacturing, commercial, everyone's on the same page.
Okay, so that handles reliability. Now let's talk pure speed. With IoT devices, patient monitors, smart manufacturing sensors, you need to analyze data in motion. We need real-time data processing.
This focuses heavily on stream processing tech platforms like Apache Kafka or Apache Flink. These tools are essential because they let you analyze data the moment it's created.
Not hours later.
Not hours later when it hits a database. The moment a patient monitor records a reading or a sensor detects a vibration in a factory.
That focus on instant data means reaction time must just drop dramatically. What are the improvements they're actually seeing?
They're staggering, really, because they relate directly to safety. We're seeing 70% faster emergency response times in clinical settings when data is analyzed instantly.
70%. Wow.
And on the factory floor, this means a 50% reduction in manufacturing batch exceptions because predictive maintenance can spot a failing pump before the batch is ruined. And for this capability, the investment is around $1.65 to $3.3 million over about a year.
Incredible speed and safety improvements for that kind of investment. Okay, so let's get to the final layers. The intelligence and protection layers. This is where the data turns into genuine foresight.
This is where we build the advanced models. The focus shifts to specialized people, data scientists and ML engineers. They aren't working in a vacuum. They're supported by sophisticated MLOps infrastructure.
For listeners who might not know that term, what exactly is MLOps and why is it so essential here?
MLOps is the engineering discipline that makes sure these complex AI models don't just work once in a lab. It ensures they operate reliably, are monitored, and improve across the whole company, constantly making better, safer decisions. It basically industrializes the AI.
So where are these powerful predictive models being deployed first?
Both R&D and commercial teams are all over this. In R&D, they're using predictive models for drug discovery, better target identification, optimizing clinical trials.
And commercially?
On the commercial side, the focus is on supply chain analytics, demand forecasting, and treatment recommendation systems for personalized medicine.
And the payoff for investing in these advanced capabilities?
They expect a 25% acceleration in drug discovery timelines and a solid 20% improvement in clinical trial success rates. That translates directly to getting a life-saving drug to market faster.
Now, switching gears, let's talk protection. When you're handling patient records and IP, security isn't just an add-on, it's the core mandate. Data security and privacy has to be non-negotiable.
Absolutely essential. Compliance mandates cover everything from EPA and GDPR to specific pharma frameworks. And companies are implementing things like end-to-end encryption and data masking.
So the data is useful for analysis, but protected from prying eyes.
Precisely. And the payoff for that investment, which can go up to $4.3 million, is pure risk mitigation.
Right.
It's a massive payoff, an 80% reduction in security incidents, and a staggering 90% improvement in regulatory compliance audit scores.
Yeah.
In this industry, that compliance score is everything.
This has been a whirlwind tour of the entire digital build. To wrap this deep dive, let's look at the strategic big picture and the incredible scale of this commitment.
Hmm.
Our sources stress that the total transformation program is comprehensive. We're talking an overall investment range of $14.3 million to $28.6 million over 2 to 3 years. That's a huge bet on the future.
Is.
What are the expected returns that justify this kind of spend?
The returns are substantial. Financially, they project a 15 to 30% improvement in operational EBITDA over 5 years. On the efficiency side, that's a 20 to 35% acceleration in R&D timelines. And maybe most critically, a 50 to 70% improvement in regulatory compliance and audit readiness. They move from constant fear to proactive readiness.
So, if you're the one tasked with leading this change, what's the clear roadmap?
The recommendations are clear. Adopt a phased approach. You have to begin with data strategy and governance. Those are the non-negotiable foundations.
Start there.
Always start there. Then you prioritize high-impact use cases in R&D and manufacturing to get those early, tangible returns. The ultimate goal is to position the organization to compete in a data-driven future while maintaining the highest standards of patient safety.
That really summarizes the whole story. This systematic movement from raw, inaccessible data to reliable, actionable knowledge that improves efficiency and ultimately patient outcomes.
And that leads to a final thought for you to consider. We cover the technology, the processes, the budgets, but what fundamental cultural and organizational shifts are truly required to embed data-driven decision-making at every single level?
That's a great question.
You can buy the tech, but how does the industry ensure every single person embraces that change so this huge investment is actually sustainable?
That essential human element, that's what turns a tech project into sustainable market leadership. Something powerful to explore further, especially that link between GXP compliance and technical implementation. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.